Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 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 Hey, I see Bailfish and William, aka Haggis. How are my volume levels? You guys hear me okay? Okay, good. I also did order a new cable. There was a lot of crackling in the last stream. So I got a new USB cable to hook my microphone up to my PC, so hopefully that fixes that issue. Do let me know if the crackle comes back up so I know to keep trying to figure it out. My dulcet tones. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't quite have the that suave European accent that you do, William, but I do my best. Hey, Haster. Yeah, so few of us get the European accent. So few of us get the dulcet tones, but then like fewer still get to have both, right? That category leaves Gopher all by himself. Lucky bastard. Okay, we'll just give it like one more minute for people to show up. Okay, so the prayer beads, the beads were an LE mod that I had to convert. Basically, all I had to do was run it through NIF Optimizer, and then I had to resave the ESP because it's a Form 44. They are called like prayer beads of serenity or something like that. They're on the Nexus, but the LE Nexus. The hat is the straw hat from Mists of Pandaria, the WoW expansion. That I think you can find on the SE Nexus. Unless you're talking about the cowl that we're seeing right now, that's the standard cowl that comes with this outfit, which are the old-geared robes from Divine Elegance. Oh, Bearfish, you used the prayer beads too? Yeah, I think it's funny that he had to rename the beads in game because the original name that he gave them were very inappropriate. Yeah, they're nice though. What I did, I made them just a little bit bigger, just a little bit more pronounced so that they would kind of stick out from the clothing a little bit more, and I kind of translated them outward from his body a little bit as well, so they didn't seem like embedded in his flesh as much. That could be done in NIF Scope. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. I think some people will probably trickle in as we go, but that's okay. I don't mind. Oh, the name before, I didn't call them anything, but the mod author called them, their in-game name was Anal Beads of Serenity. So, yeah. Not great. Of course, you can name them whatever you want. Alright, so first things first. I did add a few mods. Not many, just a couple. I think I'm winding down on the ideas for mods to add on this. First of all, we're over encumbered because we've been chopping so much wood, so let's go ahead and sell off our firewood so we can move around a little more freely.
There's a few coins in it for you. Honest gold for honest work.
There we go. So chopping 24 firewood, which is I think about 4 full animations all the way through this, gained us 120 gold. And this is kind of what I was saying last time, is that minimum wage in Skyrim for just unskilled manual labor is amazingly high. Extremely progressive province, Skyrim. Let's see here. The hat will keep the rain off. Yes, for sure. This is the hat that Hastur was talking about, the Mists of Pandaria straw hat. Talked with Baofish a little bit about maybe creating a version of this mod that he wears on his back. He kind of slides it off the back of his head. The neck strap keeps it attached, sort of like a cloak. But apparently there's a lot of separate pieces to this hat that would make that a real pain. So I'm capable of doing it in Nifscope. I don't know if it's worth the time and effort, and I wouldn't think it was worth Baofish's time and effort either, so I don't want him to take on that task either. But yeah, if one of us decides it's worth it for one of our characters, then yeah, we might have that. But yeah, a few mods that I've added. First of all is I've installed pretty combat animations, not just the one-handed version, which I've had running in this base load order for a long time. But I got a bit of a karate stance here now. So, thought that was a little more Goutfangish. It fits better than, just the close-handed boxing style. Oh, Magus showed up. Hey, Magus. Good to see you. And the wind. Good to see you guys. You're not really late. I just got started on mods. So, yeah, I did add some pretty character animations, PCA animations, to get the idle unarmed stance just right. And it does work with the defensive stance pretty well too. He kind of drops his hand down a little bit there. The only thing that I don't quite like about this idle is the is when I go from defensive stance to offensive stance. It's just a quick. There's no like transition. It doesn't bother me that much. I probably won't be going from defensive to offensive stance all that much, but yeah, I really like this stance. It looks great. No pants for sure. Yeah, you guys always show up exactly when you mean to. Alright, so the other, I did also install another animation from that same mod. And that is the sneak stance. Change it to be a little more bestial for the Khajiit. So hand on the ground, the other hand ready for a pouncing stance. A little more coiled, ready to pounce. I think that fit better with this character than the original vanilla sneak stance. So yeah, just a couple of little animation mods to help flesh out this character, to translate what he is in my head onto the screen. So yeah, so this one, yeah, Baofish, Tesha, I think I've seen him in this stance as well. It does fit with the Khajiit character very well, and also it kind of looks like he's ready to do his little Imperious Pounce, but this thing is buggy as heck. If anybody knows how to make this Khajiit Imperious Pounce work correctly, please let me know, because it seems just really, really inconsistent. See, right now he's just kind of jumping up in the air. I kind of suspect it might have something to do with nav meshes or something. Trying to connect with something on the terrain in front of him. because sometimes he pounces like no distance at all, and sometimes he'll like pounce far enough to go over a moderately sized ravine. Yeah, so I'm glad it's not just me. Bayofish has some trouble with it too. I'll continue to goof around with it and testing a little bit, and maybe check out the mod page on the post and see if anybody has figured that out. Okay, so another thing, let's get into our monk robes. This next mod is not really good for somebody dressed in laborer's clothing, I don't think. I've also installed draw, a dueling mod. And that is so that Jagasta can spar with people. So how this works is, there's actually a bunch of different things you can do with this mod, but for my purposes, I'm pretty much just going to be using sparring as a way to train with Jagasta. So it adds a shout here called Challenge. All you have to do is activate or equip that shout, approach a powerful enemy or a friend, so you can do this with followers as well, and choose spar.
Those claws.
And then he's going to come after you. And this is just a non-lethal sparring session. And it goes until one of us is out of life. Guards still far out level me at this point. Yeah, he got me. Oh no, he injured me. That's a wildcat injury. And can't continue fighting. So it recovers. The guard doesn't hate us anymore. Now I have discovered that there's a slight incompatibility with this and... Oh, did Couch use this with Kaleo? I didn't remember. There's a slight incompatibility with this and the Ritual Stone. If the Ritual Stone decides to do something right after the fight, it could trigger real aggression from your sparring partner. So could have the guards come after me for real. And then just sheathing my claws doesn't seem to work, even though I don't have a bounty or anything. Hey Mel, good to see you join. Yeah, so that's about it. Oh, also there does seem to be an incompatibility between that sparring mod and death alternative. It just acts a little wonky on when you go into the bleed out state caused by death alternative versus when you go into the bleed out state from the sparring mod. So I just deactivated it whenever I decide I'm going to have a sparring session. So I'm going to go ahead and reactivate it now because I don't think I'm going to be sparring much for the remainder of this stream. And if I do, I'll remember to go back in and turn it off. Other updates. So Khanarthi, which is the entity behind the Ritual Stone dropping off dead bodies, at least in this playthrough, that's our lore-friendly explanation for it, drops off a bunch of wolves, and I'm able to use Hunterborn to field dress those wolves and get a whole bunch of hides and stuff from it. And I used those hides to create a leather satchel that goes across the left there, and I've added that to sort of my travel gear here, along with the walking stick and the Furokishi sack. We're running out of light here. I think it goes well. It helps me carry things like animal materials for animal crafting materials gathered from Hunterborn, things like bones and hides and stuff like that. And it looks a little more Kane from Kung Fu because he does have a travel satchel just like this and the bedroll and everything. So that was fun. Also, in case you didn't recognize it, we are in Dragonbridge. I'm running the Great Cities Minor Holds mod. that fleshes out greatly a few of the little villages around Skyrim, Dragonbridge being one of them. It does also flesh out Falkreath, Dawnstar, Winterhold, and Morthal. I don't know why Dragonbridge was the only sort of small village that they overhauled. I would have liked to see something done with like Iverstead, Shorestone maybe, even though that's more of just a mining settlement. But Iverstead for sure could have used the treatment, maybe Kynesgrove. So yeah, and this gives us access to a blacksmith up here as well, as where Dragonbridge didn't have one of those before. And Khenarthi was cheeky enough to drop off one of my own dead spectral wolves, sort of the familiar that we're able to conjure in battle. So yeah, why is Jagasta here? Well, last time we left off in, it was Soljan's Sinkhole, and Jagasta spent a couple days there, doing some labor in the mines, making some money, constructing some travel gear, and licking his wounds from the Draugr battle, and decided that he had as much as he had gathered as much as he was going to learn from that place, and it was time to move on. So he took the opposite road from Old Hroldan and the Divine Elegance store, happened to cross Rorikstead, which was a thriving farming community. Oh yeah, this one's also overhauled by the Great Cities mod. But even with all that thriving farmland there was no work for a laborer. The best I could manage was, picking crops and then selling them to the innkeeper, but you couldn't even do you couldn't even sell to the farmers there. Let's see, Arthmer has a whole suite of mods for those little villages, a full suite of mods for the little villages. Yeah, I know about Arthmer's. I'm familiar with them, and I have used them before. Great mod, or the Great Cities mod, was one that kind of popped up on the excuse me, on the Nexus feed, and I enjoyed them, so I kind of kept with it. I haven't gone back to the Arthmore stuff, but I might use that. Sorry, my throat. Yeah, I might go back and just kind of piecemeal add those ones in that I'm missing, just for a new look. So he wasn't able to find any work in Rorikstead. So he went up through Robber's Gorge here. And another thing is, Jagasta tries to avoid violence wherever possible. So Robber's Gorge is the place where there's that sort of bandit toll booth situation with a bridge going over the road. And you get held up by the sort of bandit watchman there. And he asks for 100 gold in order to pass through. Jagasta gladly paid the 100 gold to avoid fighting everybody, to avoid the bloodshed. But, ironically enough, I'd love to see the inn in Old Hroldan for you. Mine is weird. Okay, yeah, maybe in just a second we can go check that out, the wind. I'll do a quick save and I'll fast travel back there and we'll come back. Oddly enough, right after I decided to pay, or Jagasta decided to pay for passage through Robber's Gorge, a Thalmor patrol came through and just wiped out the entire place. Just destroyed everybody there. So we didn't get our 100 gold back, but we were able to find some good loot on the dead bandits there. Which was good. So the reason why we're in Dragonbridge is because the innkeeper back in Old Hroldan, when we said that the ghost there was looking for Hjalti's sword, that triggered something. She's a bit of a Tiber Septim historian, and she said, well, there was a battle up here at Bruca's Leap Redoubt. That might be where you could find this artifact. So we did have a bit of direction. And Jagasta both of curious nature and wanting to help put this restless spirit back to rest. Sort of took this on as his personal mission to come find this sword. So that's what we're doing in Dragon Bridge, and that's what we're going to do this episode is go look for this sword. See if we can bring it back. Yeah, Old Hroldan Inn, for me, the wind is completely more or less vanilla, minus the lighting and texture overhauls that I have added to it. There's nothing special about it. I'm not really sure what weirdness you speak of. Do you have like some kind of town overhaul for that? Hey, Enigma. Yeah, I've heard good things about Ghosts of Tsushima. It looks great for a PS4 game for sure. Sort of the last hurrah for that platform, I suppose. Great town of Old Hroldan. Okay. Yeah, no, mine's just the only town overalls I have are the JK's Whiterun and the great cities that I've mentioned. Okay, so after a long day chopping wood, here Jagasta is back in the inn. It's very dark in here. But yeah, I think we're going to need some food and some water. And also I will introduce you to a new friend that we've made. We need to remove all this travel gear though. Oh, I forgot about the throwing knives. Yeah, I'm doing the throwing weapons light mod. That's been in my base load order for a while. I've added this not as a way to cause ranged damage, but really more as sort of a ranged distraction mechanism. So if we're sneaking around and we kind of want an enemy mob to kind of turn around or go somewhere, we can throw this little knife here, like in the corner of a room or something, and it'll get their attention. We can go in for a sneaky attack or something like that. So that's why I've added those. But yeah, we need some food and some drink, don't we?
Fate is the name.
Fate.
Need something.
Something different about you. I can tell. Hope you ain't here to cause trouble.
Well, this one does not cause trouble. This one finds trouble. This one does not cause trouble. First of all, I need to rent a room for the night, if that is okay.
Are you joking? You just rented a room.
Alright, so we'll have to re-rent it later, I suppose. We're kind of overlapping on our 24-hour rental agreement there, I suppose.
Take a look.
But let's find something hot and something tasty and something hearty, because after a long day of manual labor, venison stew would be perfect. Squash and onion stew, I haven't seen that in a while. Or ever, maybe. I am running CACO, and every once in a while these innkeepers will have something that I have never seen. What else here? Maybe some Rorikstead cheese? Some potato bread. And as you can see, our gold stores have increased a bunch. Manual labor is a great way to earn money in this game, for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and go introduce Skarn here. He is our dude. He's our friend.
Yeah.
Now, anybody who runs interesting NPCs might already be familiar with Skarn. He is very self-centered. He is very conceited. But Jagasta, being a Khajiit, he's not quite sensitive, not quite as sensitive to that self-centeredness, that conceit, I suppose, the being full of oneself, the narcissism, because there's a lot of that in Elsewhere. Jagasta also appreciates the bravado. He learned his lesson with the bravado last episode. being smacked down by the Draugr dressed up as one, and then having to take that walk of shame all the way back to Old Roldan Inn to ask Duraz for help. So maybe there are a few lessons for Skarn to learn with us. Now, I've dressed him in the Alpha Rogue armor from the Divine Elegance mod, and there's some wackiness going on in the V there, the opening of his shirt. The hood helps cover it up a little bit, but the armor set itself is actually great. It looks amazing. I've also given him the Skyforge steel rapier. I'm running animated armory, so you'll see him use the classic rapier dodge, parry, thrust system of fighting. I thought that fit his character quite well. And I gave him the Colovian dark bow and some Akaviri steel arrows to kind of... hey, watch where you're pointing that flute, buddy. That's really rude. Jagasta is not that kind of cat, alright? So yeah, Jagasta makes friendly conversation with just about everybody he encounters, and he mentioned to Skarn that he is looking for Hjalti's sword. And Skarn, being a bard, has an ear and a mind for the more dramatic side of history, and he recognized Hjalti as the first name of Tiber Septim. If you read the Arcturian Heresy, which is a book that you can encounter in Skyrim, Tiber Septim is mentioned as Hjalti Earlybeard in that book. So Skarn was able to make that connection, and Jagasta offered to have him along on his little adventures. So Skarn will be accompanying us to Bruka's Leap down here in the morning when we're all rested and fed. So he will be our buddy for that trip. But for now, Khajiit is sleepy, Khajiit is hungry, Khajiit is thirsty. So we're going to eat that venison stew. We're going to eat that potato bread. And we're going to have some water and some mead. Now, Jagasta is a monk of the Gout Fang from elsewhere, and it's not very monk-like to drink alcohol or eat meat, really, but Khajiit are a bit different. I feel like Jagasta, being a Khajiit, would have a taste for mead, it being both sweet and a bit mind-altering, which they both have predispositions for both things, so... you know. Sorry, just trying to get caught up on the chat here. Yeah, there's some great information to be had from the books in this game, and some of the books actually have driven some of my roleplay in the past. Especially Father of the Nibbin, to help sort of bring some kind of a dissenting opinion on the origins of the orcs. Because in Topal the Pilot actually sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. Topal the Pilot was an Aldmeri adventurer that thousands of years ago explored Tamriel. He was kind of the first elf to explore the mainland, and he came across some creatures that he called orcs far before when the whole Trinimac Boethia stuff occurred. So that was kind of a fun thing. Yeah, monks actually probably will not be eating meat, but Jagasta definitely will. I think I did mention meat. He also likes mead as well. So I'm sorry, they sound very similar. So we've also been doing some training. Jagasta is at level 5 now. I've pretty much invested most of my perks into the light armor tree. I've got 2 in light armor mastery, which helps with defense, obviously. And I've also been able to take the first Iron Fist perk here too, which scales your what or your unarmed damage with the amount of stamina that you have. So I'm really excited to sort of flesh out this whole unarmed tree here, and there's some great stuff, some great synergy with perks in the regular light armor tree as well here. So our survivability is much better. I've taken a perk in block mastery as well, so blocking is something that I will be doing a lot of, especially timed blocking with Wildcat and Ordinator. So 10% every time I block will help. And I've taken a perk in Alteration Mastery here, which allows us to cast Scale Form. Scale Form is added by Mysticism, which I am also running. It works fine with Ordinator and a patch. It works fine with right alongside Apocalypse, so you can have both spell packages, and they both add their own unique spells that synergize really well together. So I like having them both. The entire light armor tree is great for unarmed. Yeah, I kind of perused the tree a little bit, and I am of the same mind, Magus. I probably will be taking like all the perks in that tree if I get high enough level with this guy. But yeah, Scale Form is from Mysticism, and that it simply adds 10 points of unarmed damage. At some point, I can hook this up to Okado's Recital, and we'll be able to get a boost to our unarmed damage. We were not able to cast this in the last episode just because we didn't have the magical pool for it. But now that my alteration from casting Oak Flesh in combat situations has kind of increased, and I was able to take that perk, now we're able to cast this. So yeah, along with the speed of Jagasta, TK Dodge, which I rely on heavily, and the Block Bash, which I have added to this game for unarmed. I can now Block Bash in an unarmed stance. I think it makes more sense to spend my magicka on boosting unarmed damage. So that is that. Oh, and also I was able to finally get spell research working with mysticism perks. Or not, I'm sorry, spell research working with mysticism spells. So I'm going to go ahead and equip that. I'm going to run spell research here, and we're going to study Scale Form for a few hours here before we go to bed. That will have the effect of, for spell research purposes, learning experience in all of these categories here. Apprentice, Fire and Forget, Alteration, Flesh, Self-Targeting, and Strengthening categories. So we can use our experience in those categories to kind of rearrange these categories and ones that we learn from other spells, and use those to create new spells, which is a very organic way of learning spells in this game, which is why I love spell research so much. The other effect that it will have is it will actually increase our alteration level, because we're studying an alteration spell here. And since this is an apprentice level spell, we can only study it for so long. If it were a novice level spell, it would let us research it for the full 3 hours, but as it is, it only let us go for that 1 hour, which is fine. And then we stop researching, and we are ready for bed. Oh, and now our rental agreement has expired after being ridiculed for asking to rent a room when we had already rented it.
I keep the inn.
Yeah, can I rent a room now, Feta?
Sure thing. It's yours for a day.
Okay, just this once.
Yes,
I know where the room is, thank you.
I understand.
Oh, the other mod that I forgot to mention is alternate conversation camera. So since I'm going to be running this playthrough mostly in third person, I felt like this conversation camera fit a little bit better than the face-to-face one that I was running earlier. It's just a little less jarring of a transition. This is a great mod, by the way. It adds a bit of a cinematic flair to your dialogue. You can also set it to switch perspectives so that the camera faces your character when it's your turn to talk, but without your character actually doing anything when he speaks. It kind of looked a little odd to me, so I kept it at this perspective.
Stand out above the rest.
Get a solid 8 hours.
Here, take this small sign of my French.
Well,
Oh, Khajiit is hungry and thirsty again. Alright, so let's get our bellies full here. I do also have a ton of alchemical ingredients that Jagasta has been experimenting with. I'm not going to make that a major theme for this playthrough, but I would like to get a mortar and pestle to have him work on some healing potions and maybe some salves and bandages that are added by CACO. It seems like something that would be reasonable for a monk to do, something to pass the time while he's sitting at camp or whatever. Oh, I also was able to craft a small leather tent and a cooking pot for our adventures out in the wilderness.
Fate is the name. I keep the inn.
Let's see what she has just
Let's
for
sate that appetite.
food that travels well. Dumpling does, but dumplings are incredibly expensive, but we have the money for it. We don't mind. Chowder definitely won't travel well. The salmon will. The cheese will. That should do us, I think, for now. We have some other stuff packed away, and we do need water.
Of course. Until next time.
Every time I hear that noise of when they're filling up the water, it sounds like they're peeing. I can never get that out of my head. So every time I order water, I get this flash of them just urinating into my water skin. But, you know, maybe that's just me. Alright, Skarn.
Make it quick.
Well, it's time to go. We're gonna go get that sword. You will have much to sing about, many stories to tell. I'm sure that will make you happy. Only 'cause you allow it, huh? I'm also running AFT, so my followers will level up along with me. Ooh, nice and foggy out this morning, huh? Okay, travel equipment. Did I actually eat breakfast and stuff? Okay, we're well hydrated and good. Let's see. So how are we going to get where we're going here? It looks like if we keep the river to our left and kind of follow along with it, we will run into whatever this Ruka's Leap redoubt is. I think now would be a good time to get caught up on the chat. Let's see here. Yeah, the camera transition can be really quick. If you're not transitioning perspectives back and forth, that the speed of the transition can be very, very jarring. But I'm not really transitioning perspectives, so the speed works for me. I also got rid of the letterbox bars on the top and bottom. They didn't really do it for me. But I didn't have to adjust like the height or the angle or anything on the camera. Bayofish likes the dialogue mod. Yes, it's very lightweight. All it is an SKSE script and a DLL. Same with face-to-face, so you can actually switch out between the two at will. It doesn't do any damage to your save at all, which is really nice. So feel free to add it, take it away, mess with it. Don't drink the yellow water, right? Yeah, so I'm running Obsidian and True Storms with a True Storms patch and the NVT ENB. That's what I've been running for years. I'm probably on a really old version of ENB as well too. So, but I still love the fog effects and everything. There's a lot of ambiance. Yeah, you're not going to be able to not think about yeah, the PSACs. Hey Strudel, good to see you. Glad you were able to join. Oh, she's not a Strudel anymore. She's a Puffy Muffin. That would be a great band name as well, and also means two things. All right.
If you're unsure of where to go after this, I say we flip a coin. Heads, we go to the
Version.
tavern. Tails, we go to the tavern.
Yeah, but we were just at the tavern. Get rid of that flute. Stop pointing it right at my face. It's really suggestive, and I don't appreciate it. Version 435? Yeah, I'm sure I am way older than 435 right now. It is very dark. Yeah, I have my ENB settings to be bright as possible for night exteriors and night interiors, but dusk and dawn are still an issue. So some kind of night eye or lighting solution like travel lanterns or candlelight or something is still an absolute must for me. Just trying to do anything at dusk or dawn is an issue when you can't see what the heck you're doing. I looked into quick light as well, which makes sense for oh, we got some wolves over here. Which makes sense for like magey like characters and actually a whole lot of different characters, but I am not running an SE or a Skyrim SE EXE version that supports quick light. Now we really don't want to waste these poor creatures' deaths, so we're going to go ahead and field dress them and get what we can that's useful off of these carcasses. We also got a notification up in the top left that the ritual listens. That's from Andromeda. It's just taking inventory of the dead, the recently dead around us, to drop in on us as this bandit here. Ooh, the bandit had gold and a helmet. This bandit is likely from Robber's Gorge, which I was talking about earlier.
Still here.
Now, the compatibility patch that I have between CACO and Hunterborn isn't perfect. Basically, what it does is it removes the meat from the butcher option from Hunterborn, but it doesn't actually disable the option. So I'm avoiding the butcher meat option here. And if I need the meat from the animal, I'll just do it in manual loot. Ideally, it would take the food, the meat added by CACO, and drop it into the bucket for the Hunterborn butcher meat operation, but that's not how that patch works, and it hasn't been a big enough deal for me to dig into it myself, so. Seems like it might be fairly simple. Maybe not. There might be an updated patch for it too, but again, like I said, it hasn't been enough of an issue for me to actually spend too much time on it. Well, this is a very pretty little area, isn't it? Yeah, field dressing those animals over there also had the happy side effect of giving us some brighter weather to work with. Now, Jagasta has sampled some Nern root and found that it made him quite ill, so he's going to avoid that for now. Skarn, how you doing back there, buddy? Magus is not running an E&B? Yeah, E&B can take a heavy toll on your FPS, that's for sure. I'm running a very lightweight E&B for Fallout 4, and I'm running at 72 frames pretty solidly most of the way, even with an E&B. So I might like to look into lightweight E&Bs for Skyrim next time I kind of redo things. Right now my lighting overhauls and weather overhauls and stuff are kind of geared toward this specific E&B. I don't really feel like redoing all of that. Okay. We got our ritual buddies here. Canarthi is dropping off wayward spirits to help us with this battle. Okay. As you can see, Skarn is using the rapier animations, which are some of my favorites from the animated armory mod. And he's carrying that ebony buckler there too. I like it. The patch for Ritual Stone? I'm not sure what patch. Yeah, Ritual Stone is a little bit funky. In fact, Couch Warrior had to drop it from his Ashaba character because, you know, it drops dead bodies on your head pretty much constantly. And it just adds a lot of randomness to the game that is hard to deal with if you're trying to make a serious run at like a serious story. Yeah, I am running a patch. It doesn't work quite correctly. It might be worth it to look for a better one. But as of right now, I've gotten it so ingrained in my system that, you know, I use manual loot for the meat, and then Hunterborn for the skinning and the ingredients harvesting. Okay, what time is it now? Oh, it's 12 o'clock already. Yeah, the Hunterborn operations take forever until you get a little more versed in field dressing and skinning, get your experience up, and then it takes like no time at all after a while. So it's worth it now to take the time so that it gets faster in the future. This is where all those wolves came from. Hanging moss we don't have yet. We'll take a few samples of that. See if there are any healing properties to it. I'm not going to go all major slack and feverishly look for hanging moss wherever I can find it, but might come in handy for Jagasta later on. We already have a bunch of juniper berries. Trying to keep an ear open to make sure that we still have the river on our left there, which I believe we do, unless I got completely turned around here somehow. Yeah, there we go. Some waterfalls. I imagine Jagasta seeing this scenery and feeling small. Like this world is this great, big, living thing that has complete power over him and everything else. But I think that that would bring him more comfort than it would fear. I think a lot of people think of that and they feel afraid, like they're out of control. But Jagasta would feel comforted by this thought because it means that the possibility of him doing any lasting harm to the world is pretty insignificant. The world is beautiful and giving and perfect the way it is, even if it is dangerous, and he would not want to change it for anything. So that fills his furry little heart up with warmth. Now, what are we looking at up here? This might be the redoubt that we're looking for. We don't know what we're going to deal with. Jagasta has experience with bandits and Forsworn, and both have used these fortifications. So let's see if we can find a better vantage point here and see if we can better deduce what we're dealing with here. Okay. We see a skull here, which indicates Forsworn. Now, Jagasta doesn't know much about the Forsworn. He was very curious about them before. Went to study some of their totems and got completely waylaid by them when they noticed him. So, you know, fool him once, shame on him. Shame on them. Fool him twice, shame on him. So he's going to be very careful. It looks like he's already been seen a little bit. Okay, yep.
Come on,
Here we go.
let's dance.
Get our scale form going.
Skin you alive.
Okay, the block bash did not work. I am still playing at legendary difficulty, so one hit, especially from a dual-wielding character, will completely destroy me. We did have Khanarthi's Wayward Spirits to help us out, though. And we did have Skarn helping us out, though, too, so that's good.
Caves are like a bandit's feet, dank and covered in fungus.
This one wants to know how you know so much about bandits' feet. Hmm?
Yeah, what do you want?
I just told you I want to know how you know so much about bandits' feet. Pervert. Alright. Skarn Strudel is added by interesting NPCs. He is a very self-centered bard in Dragonbridge. I have decided to take on a bit of lockpicking with Jagasta. I feel like it works better for him than using the lock overhaul to bash things open. As a Khajiit, I think he would respect the thieving arts as a skill, more so than people from other places. He does not practice thievery. He won't steal things, but he was brought up to believe that the way of the thief is the way of skill. So things like sneaking and lockpicking and things like that, he's okay with. Oh yeah, being able to tear open the locks with your claws. Yeah, it might work. Okay, so we were not able to find Hjalti's sword in that chest, and I haven't seen any other chests around, so I'm guessing we're going to find what we're looking for in here. Let's go ahead and get Oak Flesh up and running. I don't know why the block bash didn't... I must have just missed the shot or something, because that Forsworn that got us, he went right through that bash, didn't get staggered, not phased at all, so... don't know what happened there, but... Okay, so now I got Oak Flesh and Scale Form. Use one of the claws as a lockpick. That's kind of a cool idea. Did I turn Death Alternative back on? Oh yeah, I did, because I went into bleed out state before. This is a roleplay after all, so if we die, we're gonna take it. We're gonna take whatever Death Alternative gives us. Add it to the story, make it canon. Okay. Maybe I can try out this throwing knife.
Is someone there?
Oh, and we got a Briar Heart here too. Let's see if we can get them to engage with our ritual spirits and Skarn first. Okay. Uh-oh. Getting torched. Oh, we're doing a whole lot of Yeet Cat right now, aren't we? EJ would be proud. Yeah, we're definitely gonna die. Okay, what's Death Alternative gonna do for us? That was really tough. Okay, so we lost our gear again. That's great. Uh-oh. I have never seen this before. This is going to be an adventure. You have been defeated and captured by the Forsworn. Not the Forsworns. The native men of the Reach. Judging from the traces of dry blood near the cage, you are not the first one to have suffered this fate. You can attempt to escape or leave your fate to chance. As a prisoner of the Forsworn, you are confined to a rather small cage. If you are able to lockpick the door or swipe the key as the guard passes by, you may be able to escape. Otherwise, bide your time and wait for rescue for 2 days max. Uh-oh. Is Skarn with me here too? That's amazing. I didn't know they would do it with the followers also. That's awesome. Okay, let's see if we can get healed up here. Are we back at Bruka's Leap here too? Hey you, let us out of here. Yep. Cool. Oh yeah, Hauster's getting flashbacks of Inigo. Cat in a cage. Hey, how'd you do that? Alright, now that you're out, get me out of here. Alright. Skarn has that secret magic. I wonder if he can turn wood to gold. Yeah, our magical pools. I've been mostly focusing on stamina because it's bashing is probably the most useful thing I have in my arsenal right now. So I've been every time I level up, I've been putting so 2 increases into stamina for every 1 that I put into health. And then I've been ignoring magicka because I've been able to cast what I need to cast. But when you're in a pinch and you need to heal up, I run out of magicka really quickly. Okay, what do we have in our inventory here? They still didn't bother taking away all of our lockpicks, so we could get out of here. Let's use instincts to see what we're dealing with. If it's just this one guard, I think we can take him. That's one of the advantages of playing as an unarmed character, is that you always have your weapons on you. Okay, so it looks like just the one. Oh, jeez. Okay. You can't bear to look. I get that eye bug with Death Alternative sometimes. There we go. Just making sure my head tracking mod is working. Skarn. Okay, so I guess we can roleplay that as they let him out to do some manual labor for him. How about that? Okay, so let's make sure that we are ready to go. Let's get our scale form up. And we're going to quick save. We get our fighting stance ready to go. And let's see if we can get out of here. Because it looks like this is the only guy that we have to contend with. Oh, there we go. Moon Monk doing his thing. Now, we still need to find our gear. I wonder if they... Oh, this guy had it. Sweet. Take some of his gear to... just to kind of study, because I feel like Jagasta would still be extremely curious about this whole Forsworn thing. His whole reason... Oops. That's the wrong stuff. Skarn, your gear fits me nice, yes? Mind if I keep it?
Make it quick.
You look like you want to get something off your chest. Doesn't look like you have anything on your chest to take off, actually. Okay. Does look like he does his push-ups, though. That's for sure. Do I have your... Okay, the reason why I gave him the Skyforged Steel Rapier is because his default weapon is a Skyforged Steel Axe. So I feel like part of his backstory, that once you kind of get into it and flesh it out a little bit through the unlocking dialogue options that you get with interesting NPCs, there has something to do with the companions at some point, I think. Okay, is there anything else in here that was his? No, I think we're good. Okay, man. What is this? This is another bandit. Has some stuff that we can sell off. Alright. I don't know. I'm going to be forgiving with myself right now. Oh, the buckler. Good call. Good call. I'm thinking I'm going to be forgiving with myself here. I'm gonna do some save scumming here. One alternate death is enough, I think. I do want to progress in the story of Jagasta here, so I don't want to be stuck trying to fight a Briar Heart for hours on end. There we go.
Goodbye.
So let's do a quick save. At some point here, we'll develop a tactic that will work. Oh, Strudel, yeah, I don't mind. So Skarn is wearing the Alpha Rogue armor from the Divine Elegance shop. I think it fits his character really nicely. It's actually a great set, but as I was saying before, things get a little funky down here in the neckline area, but the hood here kind of helps cover that up a little bit. But overall, it's a great set, I think.
Where are we headed? I could use a drink.
Yeah, I'm torn on adding Okado's manually through the add item menu. I kind of feel like it would make more sense to happen across it organically, either buying it from a court wizard somewhere or happening across it through spell research. Okado's is something that becomes very, very powerful, and it can be powerful at a very early stage in the game. So I kind of feel like I want to struggle for a little bit before I add that to Jagasta's sort of default loadout. Yeah, I think so. Let me just catch up on the comments here real quick. They scroll pretty quickly when things get lively. He pointed his flute at the guard. Yeah, guard let him out for that, that's for sure. Yeah, it really is. Briarhearts are no walk in the park at any level, honestly, but at level 5 on Legendary, I did playtest this, and I was able to get through them somehow. My first shot when I playtested, but it's a bit of a slot machine, a bit of a dice roll, what the ritual gives you. I think in my first playthrough it might have given me maybe like a bandit chief and some other stuff from Robber's Gorge. Okay, quick save it. Let's do it. Skarn, I hope you're ready. You're probably going to have to shoulder a lot of the burden for me here. Positioning here. Is that another bandit? Oh, he's from Soljan's Sinkhole. Man, that's a blast from the past. I think something that will work here is if I can get in deep enough into his sort of lair there, and I can keep him stun locked with block bashes, Skarn can land shots with his rapier. We should be able to do enough damage in stun lock to take him on, but it requires me really getting in there really quickly in order to preserve some of that room for Skarn to maneuver around, especially with all of the ritual spirits that might be dropped off. Of course, Skyrim is always a crapshoot, depending on, you know, how things are going to get stuck on the terrain, where the ritual stone stuff is going to get placed, all of that. Looks like I lost either oak flesh or scale form, or both. I don't know that I'm going to actually need it here, because if I take any shots at all, I'm probably dead right away. So let's try the knife throw trick again. Is he not even...
Be careful.
He's not even aggroed.
What do you need?
Interesting. So this presents a a fun little roleplay scenario here. What do you guys think? I'm halfway expecting him to just go aggro at any moment. So what's going on here? It looks like we got a human heart in a bowl. He's trying to make another briar heart, isn't he? Well, as I was saying before, Jagasta will avoid bloodshed whenever he can, so if he's not going to attack, then we're not going to attack him. Oh, hopefully he doesn't mind me looking at his book here. An enchanting skill book. Looks like some kind of Dremora or Daedric. Oh, this has to do with ripping the heart out of somebody. Filling a soul gem with it. So he's doing some cave bear pelt. Bloody rags. Some alchemical ingredients. So it looks like he's doing some research on soul trapping and removing hearts and a whole bunch of alchemical stuff. Definitely looks like he's trying to make another briar heart. But it also looks like the briar hearts aren't exactly 100% aggressive all the time. At least in Jagasta's view. This has to be a side effect of what happened with Death Alternative, but... Well, here's Hjalti's sword. And we decided last episode, too, that I need to take enchanted items. And that's going to be sort of non-canon, but I need as many enchantments as I can get. Because I'm running honed metal, and I have that set to... so that the enchanters do not know any enchantments on their own. And that makes it so that I can teach them the enchantments added by other mods, including Winter Mist. And the Squire enchantment is actually a great enchantment for Jagasta as well. Let me see here. Am I... Okay, I was just making sure that my ENB toggle and my Night Eye power weren't mismatched there. So I think this really just fuels Jagasta's curiosity about the Forsworn even further. What time is it? 3:28 p.m. It looks like it's like dusk or something, doesn't it? What I'm thinking is maybe the Briar Heart was thinking that if Jagasta and Skarn were capable enough to survive his attack, survive the attack of all of his sentries out here, and escape imprisonment and best the guard, that they are worthy opponents, and that since they've been through enough already, that he's willing to give them a pass. Also, I feel like maybe Jagasta's peaceful nature would have become apparent to him, and they were maybe able to talk it out. Jagasta maybe explaining to him the situation with Hjalti's sword and the ghost that needs to be put to rest back at Old Hroldun Inn. And maybe the Briarheart understood. That's how I'm playing it. By the way, has anybody heard any crackling from the audio or my microphone. I did replace the cable. I'm hoping that fixed the issue. No crackling. Excellent, excellent. So $5 cable fixed the situation. It's much better. Awesome. Much better than having to replace a Blue Yeti microphone or a motherboard, you know? Okay, so what's next? What's next? We're probably inching up on 4 p.m. here, so we got to think about making a camp or hightailing it back to Dragon Bridge. What would Jagasta do in this situation, I wonder? I think he would be more apt to find a comforting place in the wilderness out here, set up camp, and kind of try to meditate on what happened with the Briarheart. And maybe just do a little bit more exploring before heading back to civilization. Yeah, crackles are. That's an indication of a cable that needs to be replaced. That was an old cable too. Yeah. Well, Stu uses a lot of audio equipment that I don't. I just plug everything in through USB. He has like a mixing board and everything that he uses to be able to switch his audio sources and add effects and stuff like that. So he has a lot more cables to contend with. But my cable, it was an old PlayStation 3 controller cable, because the one that came with the microphone was actually it was bent at the tip of it. So I needed a new one anyway. So yeah, let's go ahead and set up camp right here. Yeah, in my playtesting, I was able to take on that Briarheart, no problem. Like I said, it's a roll of the dice with Skyrim combat in general, but especially if you're running the Ritual Stone. So I'm sorry that you didn't get to see me take out a Briarheart, but I feel like if we're going to prioritize role-playing, this is the only way to play this situation, considering this character. Uh-oh, you're gonna want to move there, Skarn. Is this another one of your bardic tricks? He can walk through cage doors, and he can also withstand direct flame, huh? Okay, so let's cook up some of this meat here that we have. Really don't want to eat any more canine meat, but it's good to have in the pack just in case. And the mud crab chitin can also be used as an alchemical ingredient as well as a food ingredient. Where is it? There he is. Resist disease, so we already know that one.
Still here.
Oh wow, he was camouflaged. A lot of bardic tricks from this one, that's for sure. Let's set up our tent here too. Yeah, we got a little bit of overgrowth in there, but that's not bad. I'm sorry, I just can't deal with this thing anymore. We're gonna have to pluck it just to get rid of the sound.
Something on your mind.
Fire's not hot enough to cook with. Oh. It just hadn't spawned completely yet. Animal fat to animal tallow. I don't know, why not? Maybe that'll enable something. Ooh, we can make some food out of the liver and the mushrooms. Excellent. Lavender tea, yes please. Mountain flower tea, yes please. And some steam stuff. Okay. So now we have plenty of food. We probably don't actually have to buy any from any innkeepers anymore at this point. Oh, you have seen that happen without death alternative? Interesting. How are we doing? Are we hungry? No, we are bleeding. That's the death alternative thing. That'll clear up soon. We haven't meditated in a while, though. That's for sure. So we'll go ahead and meditate to... Okay, you said I did a quick save right before this. There is a bug with that meditation power that's added by the Faiths of Skyrim mod, Winter Sun, I think. That sometimes you get stuck in this funny state. So I always quick save right before I meditate. One of those random game bugs that even the unofficial patch hasn't addressed. Doesn't happen often enough without other mods. Yeah, I could see that. They have to kind of prioritize what they're doing there. I'm also probably running a very outdated version of the unofficial patch as well. Yeah, it can happen also on this camera bug can happen also when you do a wood cutting block, and I've had it happen once or twice on an iron ore vein as well. So I've always gotten into the habit where I quick save before I do any of that. Anything as far as leveling up? We're close on alteration. About halfway through for block. Not even close on light armor. Let's see. We do have a lot of animal bones though that we can scrimshaw for. So let's do that. Oops. Yeah, my activate power button is the left stick button. So if I don't push that straight down, he tends to move right when I activate the power. Controller life. Cache marker, we might be able to use that actually. Place to stash our stuff in at camp. I don't know. What else can we? Yeah, okay, we can whittle some rings and amulets, I suppose. Full moon for the moon puss. Okay, so I think we're just going to well, let's see. We're gonna do some spell research for the night. We're gonna bed up, get some rest, and then we'll do some more exploring on our way back to Old Hroldon, I think. Oh, you've had it happen on carriage rides too? I've never had that happen before. So now I have to quick save before that as well. Oh, I didn't know you could actually use another power to break out of it. That's good to know. Moon Puss t-shirt, yeah. That's right. Okay, so what school are we going to... I think Alteration, we're the closest leveling up on that. We might be able to get to level 26 in alteration by studying an alteration spell. Restoration's close too. We might need to focus more on restoration in a bit, seeing as how healing is so important. But yeah, let's switch to oak flesh so that we don't get fatigued as fast as we did last night. Oak flesh is a novice level spell. Scale form is an apprentice level spell, so scale form is going to fatigue us faster while we study it than oak flesh. And we should get a full 3 hours of studying out of this. There we go.
Yes.
Can't wait when enemies are nearby. Is there a slaughterfish or something? Was this not a good place to to set up camp? Where are my instincts? Here we go. Or is there another... another Forsworn back up at the camp? Okay, quick save just in case. No. There was the crab earlier. Is there another crab hiding around here somewhere? Did anybody see anything that I missed? Sometimes there are hostile zones even when there's not an enemy present. If I toggle combat AI, do you think that will help fix it? Oh, there's the slaughterfish. That might be him. I don't know how to kill this guy. With my hands, I guess. I do want that slaughterfish, though. Okay. Was that it? No, that was not it. Damn. Oh, there's another one, though. Yep, there he is. Okay.
You're outmatched.
Okay, we got him. Alright, good job, Skarn. That was it. Okay. I figured it might have been a slaughterfish down in there somewhere where I couldn't see him. Okay, we are at 8:25 p.m. I would imagine we're probably hungry at this point. Mental exhaustion. Oh, Jagasta doesn't eat much, huh? Wait another hour. What are you doing, Skarn? And we'll sleep. Make some sushi out of the slaughterfish for sure. For being so annoying. Something tells me he's going to be very hungry and very thirsty when he wakes up, though. Thalmor prisoner. Okay, so what's the plan for the day here? Looks like there's another road that feeds back into the main road that can lead back to Old Hroldan Inn. So we might try to take the scenic route back through here to kind of meet up with this road again. We'll see what kind of trouble we can get into on the way. But first we need to eat. I don't think we've had cooked skeever tail before. Let's try that out. Yeah, not great. Some potatoes. Bit too early for wine. Pack it up. Okay. Looks like we have a nice little path over that way. Put on our traveling gear and let's see what Immersive World Encounters has in store for us on the road over here, huh? If anything. Forest dragon rolls. Oh, he's warming his flute on the fire. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he's done stranger things with that flute of his. Nor do I think a fire is the strangest thing he's warmed his flute on. If you know what I mean. Oh, what's this?
Oh, thank goodness. I've been wandering alone for so long, I thought I'd never see another soul again.
Alright, calm down. Tell this one what happened.
I was kidnapped by these bandits weeks ago. They locked me up in the towers near Mistwatch. I managed to pick the lock and slip out while the guards slept, but now I'm completely lost. Can you help me, please?
Yes, if you keep the water on your right and go straight ahead, you will run into Dragon Bridge eventually. Do you need any help getting there?
Oh, thank you. But I should be fine now that you've shown me the way. But those bandits have to be stopped. They're at Mistwatch. Here, let me show you on your map. If you can stop them, you'll be a true hero.
Well, this one does not know about all this hero business, but if I can somehow save another poor soul from being captured, as I have, and that woman has, then it will be a worthwhile enterprise, yes? So at some point we're going to need to find a place to cross over to the other side of this stream here. This still looks a bit too deep. Where is Mistwatch, by the way? Didn't add a quest for it. Wait, that's not Mistwatch, is it? No. Oh, jeez. I don't know how she came all this way. I don't know how she came all this way and didn't encounter in a single town. I mean, you can see Dragon's Reach from miles away. Alright. This one does not judge. Not everybody can have the eyes of a Khajiit. Oh. That guy ambushed me. Nice. So the ritual slaughterfish spirits are actually quite useful in reaching aquatic enemies that you can't attack, it seems. getting pretty, yeah, a little brighter. I can actually see. How is this on YouTube? Is this viewable? Okay, well, yeah, I can see it on my laptop screen. That's not too bad. It's pretty dark, but okay, now we're curious. We got to see what's going on up there. Who is that? This looks like where Soreen actually pitches camp in Dawnguard. I wonder if this conflicts with it. I don't think so. Beatrice.
Let your mind go beyond what should be thought, and you will see what can't be thought. Tidings, honoured guest. My name is Beatrice. The raffish companion you see beside me goes by the name of Urza. The timing of your visit is rather impeccable. Urza was just secured a fresh skeever which we hope to prepare at the top of the hour. We welcome you to join us in the consumption of this delectable feast.
You are quite loquacious, yes? But I actually had skeever for breakfast, so my belly is full and I do not have a taste for it right now. I am sorry.
Our guest seems disappointed in the menu. My deepest apologies, I had not anticipated such an outcome. Skeever steak is known to be the Valhenjarth of cooked meats, and their tails are a highly regarded delicacy in certain culinary circles. Perhaps our guest would prefer a beverage instead. Parched of throat or parched of mind, our drink will offer the remedy.
You are quite loquacious, yes? I don't know if I've heard one speak in your tongue before.
As host to our most honoured guest, I humbly apologise for my oratory failings. I am but an erstwhile savage, who only recently gained the powers of articulation.
Well, you are doing a fine job, having just learned how to speak. Why are you setting up camp here, of all places?
Why, there could be no other place. It has been chosen by serendipity herself. For I have ventured far across the river, where the rogues known as the Forsworn reside. I was once such a rogue.
Oh, you were in the Forsworn, yes? Why did you leave?
A disagreement over refreshments led to my departure. Verily, I was not alone in my thirst, for as I ventured north, another came south. Me associate Urzub was slaving in the mines of Morca's Go when a similar thirst afflicted him and sent him to this location. It is for that reason that I have dubbed this settlement Les Casgo.
She is quite the orator. She did not even blink when Canarthi dropped the carcass on my head. Les Khazgor?
Why, yes. As half the population is still up by rule, it still classifies as a stronghold. More or less.
This one thinks she is still getting the handle of spoken language. What exactly are you doing out here?
We are troubadours, celebrators of life. We drink.
Oh, you know Jagasa's gonna try the mead.
Cock's crow, in tribute to tradition.
I actually haven't done this quest before, so...
Many peddlers, hunters, and even Forsworn will pay a good coin for a warm fire, good drink, and a verse from the Poetic Edda.
Poetic Edda. Tell me about these.
The Poetic Edda is part of the living history of Skyrim, first passed on orally and then through the written word. From the campfires of memorable days to the taverns of forgotten nights, the poetry is passed on and added to by each generation. And while as our guest, the honour of the first verse is yours, I can fulfil this role in your stead. The choice falls onto you, humble traveller. If the gods bless and the mood strikes, then by all means feel free to recite.
Oh, I am not reciting anything after the shameful performance last episode, so... this one has learned valuable lessons in the way of humility, so... maybe it would be best if you quote a verse this time, yes?
Certainly. I hope my recital does this piece justice.
Okay. Oh, she's gonna be all dramatic about it, huh?
The
Sorry.
northern wolf ruled the earth and roamed the dense forest.
You're unsure where to go after this.
All
I
the
say we flip a
Hersean's
coin.
glory.
Heads, we go to the tavern.
To
Tails,
hawk,
we go to the
perched high
tavern.
upon a barn, who filled its belly every day by stealing.
Oh, I'm really interrupting her a lot. I'm sorry.
The wolf changed its tactics from a hunter of the day to one that chases tired beasts from their rightful prey. This drew Hersean's ire, his rage and his might, for upon the wolf he cast a curse that came on moonless nights. The wolf's fur was stripped down to the last strand, and until the moon's returned he walked the earth as a mortal man.
It's apparent to me that all poetry is garbage. Oh, I want to pick it so bad, but Jagasta would not say that in a million years. Oh yes, this was brilliant. Very entertaining. The poetic Edda lives on.
As our most timely and honoured guest, it is not my place to disagree, nor will I deny any other flattery you wish to send my way.
Speaking of these refreshments, what are they?
For our honoured guest, we have the cleanest refreshments this world has to offer, although I cannot speak for the next. Now, when I say clean, I hope I am not misrepresenting the potency of our drink, as I am referring to a very specific type of clean.
And what do you mean by a specific type of clean?
Well, the word clean can be defined in a variety of ways. There's clean like the Carth River, and clean like the smell of a brisk summer breeze. There is clean like the white of a freshly washed tunic, or clean like the inside of a recently scrubbed cauldron. Whether it is a clean towel, a clean river, or a clean shave, the difference is in the surface.
Okay, you sound crazy, but you make sense somehow. How does this relate to drinks? The surface of alcohol?
Well, one might say clean refreshment and clean taste come when a drink washes smoothly over the surface of your tongue. The refreshments we have gathered, on the other hand, seek to clean the surface of the mind. It can be imbibed or inhaled, smoked or suckled, but the result is the same: crystal clarity.
Smoked, inhaled? Are we talking about skooma here?
Isab and I prefer to not use that term, as it is most derogatory. We prefer the term refreshment. After all, there is nothing negative about drinking a potion that allows you to stare into the face of the divines. There, one can inquire about everything, from the meaning of life to the time of day. For the inquisitive mind, this can lead to entirely new avenues of creativity to explore.
Well, I don't know about all that, but did I see a bottle of Mogo's Mead on your barrel back there?
You have a meticulous eye, traveller. Yet to answer your query, I must first tell you the story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin in Skyrim. Unfortunately, those who governed the empire...
Is she giving me a massage?
Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead, brewed by a local man named Dimogo. However, the choice proved to be his downfall, for the guards quickly confiscated his wagon.
Okay, that was kind of amazing. I know she was trying to warm her hands by the fire in a little sandbox animation, but that was perfectly placed to kind of give me a little creepy back rub while she's telling me about it. Probably just the guards doing their duty.
Not at all. These guards were acting in their own interests.
Okay, then what happened after the guards confiscated the mead?
They drank it. They say not a throat was dry that night. From the tavern to the Jarl's longhouse, palates were washed and minds were cleansed. And from the womb of that infinite revelry came a flash of inspiration, a paroxysm of melody and song. The bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back to that day, to the true spirit of the bard's tune.
So here's the thing. I want to follow this quest because I've never done it before. I think that if Jagasta knew that Mogo's Mead had skooma in it, that he would not take it. He would not drink it. I kind of want to play this as if he thinks that skooma and the Mogo's Mead are separate. He just wants to drink the mead. So I'm trying to find a dialogue option that will allow that. Do the bards who sing Mogo's Mead know about this story?
Barrel by the camp. There's enough for
Yeah, let's
everyone.
get going then.
Yes?
Oh, I missed it. I was thinking too long. So how will... Okay, so I'm just going to replace skooma with mead at this point. I think that will work. How will skooma make me more creative? Or how will the mead make me more creative?
Imagine every boring thought stranded in your mind, washed away by a tide of concentrated joy. While others hope for the improbable and dream the impossible, when your mind is cleansed of preconception, the impossible will dream of you.
The impossible will dream of me. Now you sound like my old master from elsewhere. Speaking in riddles. Oh, now the orc is rubbing my back too. Jagasta, could you get used to this? Can I stay with you guys? Can you adopt me as your kid?
That's right. I ask you, traveller, when was the last time you
Deep
dared
tissue
to
this
think
time.
of that which cannot be? In the time between this sentence and the last, I have witnessed two such fantastical events.
Fantastical events. What are you talking about?
Behind you, I saw a bear dressed in Thalma robes.
No, that's
trained
just
to
an orc
guard
rubbing my
house
back.
worshippers. In the curve of its eyes, I saw the future, where the septum had been replaced by pieces of cork as Tamriel's most commonly traded currency. Perhaps our guest would like to give it a try. Simply clear your mind and envision one impossible thing.
Jigasta has a bit of a sweet tooth, I think, because when I think of the first thing I can that is impossible, I think of raining apples, and then sweet rolls, and then Jigasta eats all of them.
An admirable try. But this host recommends you imbibe some refreshments before proceeding any further.
So at this point, do
Merry traveller.
I just drink the mead? Anybody who knows this, can I drink it now and talk to her again? I can't get back into first-person view somehow.
Up to you. It would not be prudent to burn the steak of our honoured guest.
Where is it? I lost sight of it again. I need another.
Okay, well let's just drink the mead and see what happens here, I guess. Where did the mead go? I did pick it up, right? Oh, there we go. Feeling well hydrated. Okay. Anything else?
Tidings to you, friend.
Did I break it? Anybody know where to go from here?
The choice falls onto you, humble traveller. If the gods bless and the mood strikes, then by all means feel free to recite.
Okay, so after a little bit of liquid courage, I think Jagasta... The quest is buggy, huh? After a little bit of liquid courage, I think Jagasta would be up to reciting this. Hearing I ask from the holy races, Isgramor's sons, both high and low.
Oh, an excellent rendition. You are truly a bard worthy of passing on the tradition of the poetic Edda. Perhaps you will critique my own reciting of a similar creation verse.
You can begin whenever you are ready. Any day now. Interesting NPCs
Old was the age when Anu
is quite buggy on its
no
own.
earth, nor wind, nor sea was there. There were no stars, no sky above, no clouds to grey the weather fair. Padme sought to give birth to life from the nothing of nowhere. Yet all Anu did was yawn and belch like a bag of empty air. Alone in the dark she shouted to silence, and silence answered her call. For it's death and emptiness who in the end is the true father of all. When Sithis spoke, the cold was warm, and gods were given birth. And when we leave this mortal coil, it's to Sithis that we return.
Okay, you are better at this than I am. That is clear.
As our most timely and honoured guest, it is not my place to disagree, nor will I deny any other flattery you wish to send my way.
Where did you learn to articulate so well?
Why, dear guest, it was not more than 20 paces from where you stand. If this answer perplexes you, allow me to recount the events that transpired. I had recently absconded from Drudat Redat with 2 bottles of refreshment on my person when I arrived at the bank of the river. Viewing the campfire in proximity of the dwarven ruin, I attempted to cross the Beryl current, warily dipping my toes into its mouth. The water was as cold as it was irritable, so I decided to abandon this pursuit, given that I am not well versed in the swimming craft. Yet, no sooner did I turn around that a great big dragon swept overhead, the force of which catapulted me into the water. I fought the current, kicking and gulping, and in my tantrum I managed to wedge my leg between 2 rocks.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Search the barrels? Okay, I will. But I feel like they're setting up for something else here.
It was rather embarrassing, but I took some consolation in the fact that I was not the first to drown in such an inglorious manner.
So you weren't alone?
No, for laying in the rock beside me was a skeletal fellow, more bones than skin and more clothes than bone. He seemed to have died from a fracture to the skull, and his lifeless body was nestled comfortably beside me. Meanwhile, Urzub, having witnessed my folly, rushed to the river to rescue me, but I could only stare at the corpse in the river. Then I noticed his right hand seemed to glimmer like a bauble, which makes sense as he was clutching one. I reached for the bauble just as Urzub reached for me. He forced me out of the river like a bear swatting a salmon. When I first spoke to Urzub, I didn't recognise the words, but there were none that I'd ever acquainted myself with before. The bauble, you see, was not a bauble, but an amulet of articulation.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
Farewell.
Okay, so let's check these barrels as the wind suggested here. See if we can progress this quest on a little bit. Okay. So there is moon sugar and skooma in here. So they are skooma runners, apparently. And we have a journal here. Finn, when did we last speak? It seems like ages since I last saw you, but only yesterday, since those summer days by the Nimid. You would draw those intricate maps in the sand, and we would scamper about hunting for treasure until the shrill call of our nannies would drag us back to the city for dinner. This map you have drawn me is of little use, it seems, for I have no doubt ignored its counsel. I have found the river, yet the rest of the direction seems to speak of another place, with trees and wildlife singing through the breeze. Where I stand now is a land of hills and valleys, its broad shoulders armored with a cuirass of rock. It is a small miracle that I have not gone completely mad, although at times I wonder if such a state would be preferable. Then, as if to mock my request, the gods let me witness an act of true madness, and I realize that I am still whole. I dare not say more. The Reach is not a safe place for me to sojourn. Fortunately, I finally met a passerby I felt comfortable approaching. He was a Breton man, likely a servant of some sort, running an errand for his master. I wanted to ask him for directions, but how does one do so without knowing her destination? I searched the depths of my memory for a name, a place, a feeling. I mumbled something about a college, a phrase without meaning or context. Yet somehow the Breton was able to decipher my cryptic plea. Wordlessly, he pointed to the river, then guided that finger northeast. That's where this college must be. It was in that moment that I thought of you, Finn. A thought of the imperial city of Niben, and the strident voice of the river at my feet. I need only follow its call, Lathgwen. So are they talking about northeast from the river here would lead us to the Bard's College, but we also have the College of Winterhold far northeast.
said, we're having rats for dinner. You in or out?
Sounds kind of like gore, I think, right? I don't see any rats.
Sometimes you gotta squint real hard. Other times they camouflage themselves by turning the color of a bush. Them skeevers can be real sneaky. Sometimes it'll take 2 or maybe 3 bottles before you spot one. But they're there. What's with that look? You think I'm mad or something? To the void with you, then.
So these refreshments that Beatrice keeps referring to.
Skooma. Poison, basically. Although that doesn't make it much different from the kind they serve at the inn. Not that they should serve it. Skooma's got a little more bite than mead or ale. By Malakath, it'll take a chunk of your mind and your coin purse if you aren't careful. But for some folks, it doesn't do either. Just look at me. I can put half a dozen bottles down and not have the urge for another. I must have been a fur walker in my past life. Same with B. They say skooma will make you dumber than a mud crab. Wouldn't know it by listening to her. Won't stop using all them fancy words.
Well, it's nice that they have a Khajiit specific dialogue, but Jagasta does not like to steal. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I need to get drunk before the next dialogue options unlock. Sorry for all the meandering here. I know this isn't the most entertaining of content here. This one thinks Beatrice is fun, like a walking, talking copy of the Withersheens.
Then by all means, stay. She thinks we're all some band of troubadours, singing songs and acting plays and reciting poetry. There aren't enough skooma bottles in all of Mundus to make that sound interesting. And half of them are in that barrel.
Okay, I'll give that a shot. Wind. Okay, where did all this mead come from?
That's something I've been wondering myself. Seeing as we only started with, 2 bottles. Except now, we got enough to fill a brewery. And I have no idea where it all came from. I asked B, and she says it was a gift from the dwarves. So, seeing as we're sitting on top of this ruin, I thought it might have something to do with that dwarven box over there. But the other day I put a bottle and a few pieces of gold in there, just to see what would happen. And nothing. My guess is she has a separate stash lying around here, but hasn't told me where. She probably thinks I'd kill her if I knew the location. Smart girl.
You seem to be hinting at wanting to ask a favor of Jagasta, yes?
Well, now that you mention it, there is. Do you by chance know magic? As in, fire spells and things like that?
Not exactly. This one can manipulate ki to his will, but it's not exactly magic, nor flames. Sorry, I cannot help you.
Can't help or don't want to. I suppose it doesn't make much difference, because I don't like you regardless. Well, now that you mention it...
Well, there's no reason to be antagonistic here. Maybe I can manipulate the key in the way that will work, yes?
Here's the thing. Whenever I got off the skooma, either 'cause there weren't none or my supplier never showed up, I'd get real tense. I'd be in the mine, and my teeth would start chattering louder than the pickaxes. And then there was the sweat, like taking a bath inside your clothes. I figured I was about to lose my mind if I didn't find something to fill the void. One night, I tell Bagrak I'm going out into the woods to gather my thoughts. She tells me, gathering thoughts, or just the one? Guess she knew what I'd been up to. Either way, she lets me out of the stronghold, and I just started walking.
Well, if she knew about your habit, why didn't Bagrak tell the chief?
Good question. Maybe she didn't care. Or maybe she didn't know after all. Never asked her what she meant by the one. Even I'm not that stupid.
So what happened after Bagrak let you out of the stronghold?
I wandered around a bit, looking for a ditch to lay in and die. Made it halfway to solitude when my knees buckled, and I collapsed on my bottom. Must have been a sad sight. Even the rabbits started getting curious. One of them scampered close enough to where I could pet it. Except I didn't stroke its fur. I grabbed it. Then I picked up the torch, and I lit its rear end on fire.
Uh-oh. You tortured the rabbit?
It was pretty satisfying. Suddenly, all the tension in my muscles was gone. After that, I made it like a ritual. Went out every night, found some furry thing, and set it aflame. Helped keep me sane for the most part. Not enough to stay in the stronghold and work the mines, but enough to get up and leave. Don't need to anymore, now that I got drink. Although, I still get the urges whenever I see one of them furry bastards. Only, Bee saw me burn a fox the other day, and she didn't like it one bit.
I do not blame her.
Now she won't let me anywhere near the fire, so I gotta make my own.
If you think this one is going to help you torture animals, you are out of your mind.
Well, I drink skooma for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and live with a beggar who thinks she's a bard. So no, I'm perfectly sane. In any case, if you weren't gonna teach me something I can use, then you best forget we ever had this conversation.
Yeah, Magus, watch your six, so to speak, huh?
Fine.
Oh, Crantius, Mispass, licentious betrayer, your legend is lies, lurid and false. Your conquests of the Maid are con for the ages. No polishing of spears or lifting of tails, no kneading of loaves did this courtship endure. The Maid was not one of mortal form, for on sunlit days she grazed on the pasture. Crantius satisfied himself without dignity or remorse. From across the farm the animals bayed in protest. But the mistress stood strong, House Coltor's truest protector. Her vengeance was instant, inconsolable death. And so ends the story of Crantius the Liar, a deviant and a scoundrel who we commit to the fire.
Okay, that was interesting. What is the story with the orc?
Zub is a fine host, and it is by virtue of his hunting skill that we are blessed with this current feast. Unfortunately, he is far less loquacious than I, especially in the presence of new guests. However, our guests might find that after a bottle of refreshment and some time by the campfire, the words flow faster than the cart itself.
The stolen mead is the key to moving this forward. By what rule is this place an orcish stronghold?
Why, the rule of estimation. If that is cause for confusion, allow this host to offer a guest an example. Take me associate here, who stands roughly 2¼ sword lengths in height. For the sake of brevity, he might tell a stranger he is only 2 sword lengths tall, which does indeed convey his general stature. In this instance, one always rounds to the nearest old number. Now, suppose you are exactly 2½ sword lengths in height. Why, his distance from the numbers 2 and 3 would be equal. In this instance, the rules state we choose the next highest round number when making an estimate. The same rule applies to the composition of this settlement. Given that there are half as many orcs and half as many Bretons, one might estimate that this settlement consists of all orcs and all Bretons.
Well, now, my presence here changes that makeup now, doesn't it?
Verily, it seems this settlement is now completely without race, but instead one based on gender. With your presence, we are now an all-male tribe. Oh, this is delightful news. Perhaps I too can now evacuate myself in the river as opposed to the shrubs.
Okay, you do whatever you like, lady. Let's see. Out of dialogue options there.
I think we're running out of refreshments. Maybe you ought to go get some more.
Do not fret me, associate. The barrel is stocked and the beverages are cold.
Well, you can never have enough. I mean, if it's too much trouble, maybe I can pick it up for you.
Your fears are unwarranted, Zub. As long as I am here, our throats will never go dry.
Fine. Have it your own way. You always do.
Let's hear again about the mead on the barrel, okay? Is that a bottle of Mogo's mead I saw on your barrel?
You have a meticulous eye, traveller. Yet to answer your query, I must first tell you the story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin in Skyrim. Unfortunately, those who governed the Empire frowned upon the imbibing of clean, savoury drinks. Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead, brewed by a local man named Dimogo. However, the choice proved to be his downfall, for the guards quickly confiscated his wagon.
Did the guards steal his cargo?
Your assumption is correct. These guards were acting in their own interests.
So what happened after?
They drank it. They say not a throat was dry that night. From the tavern to the Jarl's longhouse, palates were washed and minds were cleansed. And from the womb of that infinite revelry came a flash of inspiration, a paroxysm of melody and song. The bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back to that day, to the true spirit of the bard's tune.
So is this song, Mogo's Mead, really about skooma?
It once was, and it will again if you lend this troubadour your ear.
Thanks, Wind.
For I speak of a grand quest, a romantic epic to return Mogo's Mead to its former glory.
Wait, is Mogo's Mead still brewed in Skyrim?
It is with much regret I say, doubtful. For the Mead wars have claimed many in our time and times past. The great whale, Maven Blackbriar, has swallowed barrel after brewery, and still her appetite is nothing short of rapacious. However, the popularity of the song Mogo's Mead persists, and now even the whale has conceded there is profit in another brand's name.
So you are telling me that Maven Blackbriar plans on introducing a line of Mogo's Mead?
Yes. In fact, word has travelled to our ears of a party to unveil the drink under the whale's banner. They plan to replicate the original recipe, but alas, not the recipe that inspired the song. This travesty of justice must be rectified immediately, and that is the quest I would have you endure.
Okay, I'm gonna have to think on this. I would really like to experience this, but I really don't know if it fits with Jagasta's character. Jagasta knows of the effects of moon sugar and skooma being from elsewhere, and also him being a monk really wouldn't approve of it. He does, however, really like mead. So I don't know, maybe I can roleplay it that he's just confused. He still doesn't know that they're talking about skooma. Anyway, let's keep the options open, so let's go ahead and continue. This one does have a fondness for Dimogo's mead. It seems a bit sweeter than the Nord mead that they brew here. Oop. I'm gonna have to get through that. I'm taking forever here. Sorry.
You have a meticulous eye, traveller.
Okay, we gotta get through all this again.
I'm exposed to the story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin.
Blah blah
Skarn.
blah, yakety schmackety.
Unfortunately, those who governed the empire frowned upon the imbibing of clean, savoury drinks. Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead, brewed by a local man named Dimogo. However, the choice proved to be his downfall, for the guards quickly confiscated his wagon. Your assumption is correct. They drank it. And from the bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back to that day, to the true spirit of the bar. It wants, for I speak of a grand. It is. However, yes.
Almost there.
This travesty of justice must be rectified immediately. And
This one does like Mogo's mead. It is quite a bit sweeter than the Nord mead that I have been sampling. So let's restore the dignity of this brand name, shall we?
It is not just the past but the future that hangs in the balance. We honour not only history, but we inspire the poets and bards of the age to come. That is why you must dive towards the depths of the Blackbriar Meadery and remove the barnacles that dull the mind. Take this case and replace the one in their cellar. Transform their dire drudgery into the drink of the divines.
Okay, there we go. We have the quest started now. Riften is quite a ways away from where we are now, but it does give us something to do once we get there. I probably won't take Jagasta to Riften for quite a while, so that'll give me some time on how to think on how to retrofit this retrofit something into the story, into the canon here that makes sense for this character, I think. Do a little bit of roleplay magic or something, I suppose. But yeah, I have been streaming for about 2.5 hours now. This was not the most action-packed or entertaining stream, I will admit, but been trying to focus on role-playing above, action and just combat, and trying to do quests and level up the character and stuff. So next one will probably be better. I have some playtesting to do. As far as what happens next, we do have this sword to bring back to the ghost at Old Hroldon Inn. That will be a nice thing to kind of take off of Jagasta's plate, a nice feather in his cap. He'll feel good about helping that ghost get back to rest after all these thousands of years. And he also still wants to go pay his respects to Azura up here at the Shrine of Azura, which also will take us closer to Windhelm, where I have modified Silda the Unseen and Scout's Many Marshes there as master level pickpocket and light armor trainers. So that is our future plans there. There is still some exploration to be done on our way back to civilization from the wilderness here before we continue on to Old Hroldon. So I'll do some playtesting, do some thinking on this whole quest to see if we can fit that into Jagasta's persona and his path and his story. Well, it looks like we got the fog going in full effect here. Kodak moment, maybe? I was kind of hoping that Skarn would be facing the right way. And at the very least, we got a good back rub out of the deal, or two, actually. So, it wasn't all for naught, I think. Little aimless meandering, but that's a big part of what this character does, so. Not always the most compelling, but sometimes it can make for some great surprises. William says that he did this quest because his character likes Mead so much. Yeah, Denefei. Or Tariel now? She changed her name to? Yeah. Yeah, I can figure out something because Jagasta does like Mead a lot. So I have to figure out some way of fitting that in. Again, we're not heading back to Riften anytime soon though, so I do have time to think about it. I may be able to just play this as non-canon and just to experience the quest. Role player's guilt is a real thing, but I'm trying to be forgiving with myself on how I'm playing this, just to explore the character and his story a little more unhindered, I suppose. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this episode. I've been streaming for about 2.5 hours now, so hopefully you all join me for the next one. Be a little more entertaining, I suppose. And until then, I hope you guys do well. And I will see you guys in the streams to come. Oh, I have also linked people's channels in the description of this stream. So below I have Couch Warrior's channel, The Wind, I have your Twitch channel, Magus, I have your YouTube channel, and Baofish's YouTube channel. So if you're watching this and you are not a member of the communities that all of us are, and you like this kind of Skyrim content, there's a whole lot more where that came from. We all have our own brand of storytelling, and our own ways of playing this game in very interesting ways. So please do check out those channels. You won't be disappointed. And give them some love. So yeah, thanks again guys for joining, and I will see you next time. Bye.